Now we're cooking in Carol's kitchen. What I'm going to prepare tonight is a beef Wellington where I have leftover standing rib roast I had cooked yesterday. And I've got the roast already here. And then I'm going to cut the string off and remove the bone. I'm going to wrap this in my pastry puff sheets. And what I'm going to do is I'm prepping my onions and my mushrooms. So this is going to be like onion mushroom garlic wine sauce that I'm going to cook the mushrooms in. But then I'm going to put the mushrooms and the onions on top of the meat, and then I'm going to wrap it up in the dough. So all you do is I got 2 pounds of your choice of mushrooms, and I've already washed them. And then what I also do is take some paper towels and dry them off. And then I'm going to make a mustard Dijon sauce. After the mushrooms are sauteed, I'm going to remove the mushrooms and add my Dijon mustard and some mustard with the seeds in it. And then on top of the pastry puff, I'm going to do an egg wash on top of it and bake it at 425 for about 15 minutes to 20 minutes, just to have the pastry already nice and brown. The meat's already cooked, so you don't take very long. So I'll be right back. Now that we have the mushrooms and the onions cooked, it's been cooking in some olive oil and some butter and half a cup of red wine. Everything's nice and tender, so I'm going to drain the mushrooms and the onions in this bowl. And once I have all the mushrooms out of here, I'm going to let them cool for about 5 minutes, because once I put that on my standing rib roast, and then I have to wrap the dough around it. The heat from the mushrooms can make my dough soggy and fall apart, and I don't want that. So once I got all the mushrooms out, and save your juice, because you can make a nice gravy out of it, which I will. Okay. And then what you're going to do is just give it a little push. Make sure it's nice and dry. You're going to love this dish. Okay, now I took the bones off the standing rib roast, where the butcher already cut them off for me. Then he just got some string and tied it up for me. So you could chow on this later. My husband loves chewing on the bones. Okay, what I'm going to do now is put the prime rib like this, and then we're going to put the mushrooms and onions all over it. And what I did with my pastry puff is I rolled it out to about 12 inches by 15 inches on a floured surface. And in my mushrooms and the onions, I went ahead and made the mustard and the Dijon mustard and the mustard seeds, and I mixed it very, very well. And then you could use your fingers, because sometimes I think it's a little easier because you can control on how much you get on here. So we're going to use all the mushrooms here, which is about 2 pounds. And they do cook down quite often and quite fast. Okay. So now I'm going to just wrap it up. And since my meat is already pre-cooked, 15-20 minutes probably at the most, and I do have this on the pink side, so cooking it for about 15 minutes should not change the texture too much. Now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to put this on my baking sheet. And then we're going to do an egg wash on it. These are fresh eggs, so the yolk is very yellow. Again, you know what? It works better with the fingers. Now I have the roast nicely wrapped in the puff shell. And don't forget to spray your wax paper with a little bit of your oil of your choice. I use Pam. And then make sure you put slits in it about 2 inches apart. This way the steam will come out and your dough's not soggy. So now it's gonna go in the oven at 425. And set your timer for 15 minutes. And what I do is after 15 minutes, I'll check on it. I might have to give it about 5 more minutes. Now I took this out of the oven and I let it rest for about 10 minutes and it turned out nice and golden brown and the meat is still nice and pink and tender. Now this is a prime standing rib roast. So you're all gonna have some fat in it and that's what you want. That gives it the flavor. So I also made with the juices from the mushrooms and the onions and the red wine. I thickened it up with a little bit of flour and I just made a gravy. So this way you could pour it over your steak or your roast when you're serving your dinner. Now, just to let you guys know, I'm not a pro, I'm not a chef. I know I make mistakes, but you know, that's what's so fun about this because I love cooking. And how can you go wrong when you love to cook and entertain? So this is a learning experience for me doing this on camera. So I really appreciate you guys being patient with me because this is a learning experience for me. Look at Derek Peltz Fox. He was runner-up in the MasterChef in 2015, season 6. He is a good friend of my nephew Nathan. They went to school together. They're pretty close right now. I can't really say he's a personal friend of ours, but I have connections with him through Nathan. And one day I hope to make it on MasterChef the same way he did. And as I keep doing the videos, I'm hoping to get a little better, not as nervous when I do this. Who knows, one day you might see me on MasterChef. So I went ahead and made myself a plate. And what I did here is I made like a mashed potato au gratin. It's mashed potatoes and I put some cheese on top of it, cheddar cheese, with some bacon and a little bit of chives. And then I am going to take a bite of this standing rib roast with the pastry puff around it. Something I've been waiting for all day, so let me give a taste. You have to try this. And it's very simple. And I also made some broccoli on the side with cheese sauce on it. This is the only way I got my children, Bobby Richard Evans, to eat the broccoli growing up as a child. And I started off putting cheese on it because who wants to eat just plain broccoli and butter? Well, I do, but kids, you have to disguise it a little bit. So we made fun with this. So then I made some cream corn also, bought some fresh corn on the cob, took the kernels off myself. So this is a meal fit for a king. And I certainly have a king in my household. So bon appetit, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.